Hey y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 7. So we left off on a cliffhanger, I guess, from last week with the Fudas versus Teresa and Louis the Lobster. They're storming out because John didn't get the apology that he wanted from Teresa. He says, next time I want to get my money laundered, I will call you. Teresa then yells, drug dealer, down the stairs. And then Teresa's like, oh, he's messing with the wrong Teresa, Judith. What are you gonna do, Teresa? Is she gonna send her fans after him? Because I know they're like Trump supporters or Barbs. They're one and the same. And now all of a sudden, Louis has so much to say. He didn't say a word when he was face to face with them. As the Fudas are walking out, they leave the bottle of Johnny Walker Blue on the counter. They said Joe wouldn't want that. We see Teresa and Louis leave the restaurant. They take the bottle of Johnny Blue with them. I just don't understand, why is she giving them a gift when she's not speaking to them? Is this like her version of an olive branch? Does she want a relationship with her brother? It just seemed like a mind game you're trying to play with them. Next scene, we're with Danielle, and she's just talking about the aftermath of putting on her first fashion show. She's back to, her day-to-day of being a housewife. Now, maybe y'all can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but does Danielle have a day job, or is she just a full-time housewife, and then she does the fashion thing on the side or as a hobby? Y'all let me know. Anywho, next scene we're with Melissa, and she's talking to her assistant about planning her housewarming party that's coming up. I gotta say, I really like their house, especially the inside of it. I think they have the nicest house of the entire cast now. So far, it looks like we're just going from cast member to cast member right now, just giving them 2 minutes each. We're now with Margaret. Okay, so now we're finally on the scene. We're with Dolores. She's talking to her mom, and her daughter's coming over to visit too. So she's talking to them about Frank proposing to his girlfriend, and then the conversation of, proposing, her daughter brings up, oh yeah, you and Paulie. So now they're talking about their relationship. Dolores again says she's in no rush to get married. She's been married already. She's had her kids. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But Dolores' mom does bring up, hasn't Paulie been separated for 15 years, 10 years? See, I was trying to figure out in the last episode. Someone in the chat told me he's been separated for 10 years and been trying to get a divorce for 2 years. Dolores is trying to explain why she thinks it's taking so long, but then she mentions to them that, oh, well, Paulie wants to go into business with me. And then it's a record scratch because her daughter and mom are both confused by that. Why does Paulie want to go into business with Dolores? Especially when he's not even divorced yet. Dolores tells us that the business is electrical work. Her mom's like, electrical work? And her daughter's like, I can't wait to see you put in electrical wires. Dolores confirms to them that she's not an electrician and Paulie isn't either. So now I'm confused. So you have two people that don't know anything about electrical work. Neither of them are electricians. It makes perfect sense. Dolores then says that Paulie's a contractor. I'm just like, another contractor? That just gives me embezzling or some type of seedy business. But he has electricians that work for him. And I'm just wondering, where does Dolores fit in? Does he just want to have her as an investor? Does he just want to slap her name on it? Is he using her for clout? Something in the buttermilk ain't clean. We cut to Dolores' confessional. She's like, it's the highest form of flattery for a man to want to go in business with you. I don't know, because when I think of that, I think of Peter Thomas and Cynthia Bailey and how he was using her and how he's tanked business after business after business and then actually going to jail for not paying his bills. Dolores, you may need to run. Her mom and daughter are trying to be supportive, but her mom says you have a right to know what your future looks like, because it just seemed like she's in limbo right now. I really can't believe Dolores is jumping on this hamster wheel again, because she went through this with the doctor. So then out of nowhere, we see Paulie walk in the room, faces as pink as Porky the Pig. Like, was he in the house listening to them the whole time? He probably was. So next scene we're with Teresa and her family, and my problem with Teresa's scenes are they just feel super produced and inauthentic. I mean, for one thing, they're decked out in her clothing line, Namaste Bitches. Like, they make sure they have a t-shirt or a hat, a mug, something. And then they're talking about the family life. It just seems fake. And I'm just like, y'all watch this show for Teresa, but all her scenes by herself are not that great. They're pretty boring. Like, I'll admit, like, Teresa's more interesting when she's around the other ladies, not in her home life with Louis the Lobster. Yeah, fast forward. Next scene, we're with the Fudas. So the gist of this scene, she's talking about her daughters, and then the aftermath of meeting up with Teresa and Louis. She feels no regrets, and I think her and Teresa are officially done. There's no reconciliation. She might as well just be on that side with Melissa and Joe. All right, so next scene, it is the day of Melissa's housewarming, and I will say, Melissa knows how to throw a party, and the food be out and be looking good too. Wow, their house is really nice, and they have like a little limoncello theme, really cute, and Melissa looks good. I like this dress she has on. Her house actually reminds me of Kyle's house in Beverly Hills. So we cut to Marge right quick, and she's getting ready to go to Melissa's housewarming, and she's talking to her husband about running into Jackie and saying it might be a thing. We cut back to Melissa saying she hopes there's no drama between Jackie and Margaret. Now, she knows there's going to be drama at that housewarming. It also looks like all the ladies will be there except for Teresa. So then we cut to Jennifer Aiden getting ready, and she's talking to her husband about the friction between her and Joe. Now, I totally forgot that this happened at BravoCon, and there was like a altercation, well, a verbal altercation between her and Joe Gorga. Like, they caught it at a hotel or something on a cell phone. So I'm thinking that's where that beef comes from. They haven't really addressed that on the show, I think. But yeah, she's just talking about having to eventually interact with him. I mean, she is going to be in his home, and how long is it going to take for him to say hello to her, and will it be awkward? She's then talking about what Teresa thinks of her going to the party, and she says Teresa told her, just don't talk about me. And I'm sure Jennifer's going to do what her boss tells her to do. Jennifer then mentions her friction between her and Danielle involving the hairdresser and the VIP situation. It just seems like Jennifer had a problem with Danielle due to that incident. She's saying it made her look elitist and entitled. And I'm like, if you had that problem with her, why don't you just address it with her one-on-one instead of bringing the hairdresser on talking shit about her? Because clearly that made you feel some type of way. And also from hearing Danielle's side of the story, it seemed like Jennifer had a problem that she didn't invite Margaret's ex-bestie that her and Teresa latched onto for information against Margaret. Jennifer is just like Teresa with the whole throw the rock and hide your hand. She thinks she's so underhanded, but she's not. It's very obvious what the two of you are doing. Like, y'all aren't these masterminds y'all think y'all are. If you really want to be smooth about it, you need to talk to Margaret, but we'll get to that later in the episode. So as guests are arriving to Melissa and Joe's home, we see the inside, it's decked out, and then we see Joe's face on the statue of David or Michelangelo. I forgot, don't attack me, and they have lemons over the crotch area. Of course, I'm sure Joe did this. Oh my God, the hanging prosciutto over the charcuterie spread. I feel like, shout out to Brooke Ashley, like my mouth is watering looking at this. So most of the ladies are at the housewarming. We see Rachel talking to Melissa about her run-in with Teresa and Louis and how things did not go well. She gave a backhanded apology and Louis said nothing. I don't know why she said it like that. Then she tells Melissa that they gave her a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue with a card as a housewarming gift for Joe. And the look on Melissa's face, and she's like, I'm glad you didn't bring that because we definitely don't want that bottle. We cut to Melissa's confessional. She's saying she's so glad they didn't bring that bottle in her house. They probably put an air tag on it or it's probably bugged. That was funny. Also, if y'all not familiar with Johnny Walker Blue, I think it's the highest form of Johnny Walker Scotch. It's about at least like $500 to $700, depending on where you get it. Johnny Walker comes in different colors. The lowest tier is red, then black, then green, then blue. If you go to a restaurant or a bar and someone's ordering Johnny Walker Blue, that means they got money. Child, and speaking of which, we cut outside to Dolores and Paulie arriving, and Dolores has that bottle of Blue Label in hand. And the look on Rachel's face when she sees the bottle. Melissa immediately calls out Dolores for bringing that. She was like, you did not bring that bottle here. And Dolores, you know, she loves playing Switzerland. She saw it as an olive branch. We cut to Melissa's confessional. She's saying, the last words you said to us was you're officially done. And now you're giving us a gift? Fuck out of here. And I feel like I would feel the same way. Like, what are you trying to do here? So we cut back to Teresa and her household, another stage scene where she's with the whole family and she's cooking, she's talking to Louis. She's talking about Gia and how she wants to move in with her current boyfriend. She has some hesitation because she wanted Gia to live on her own for a bit, then be with a guy. But I don't know, like the way Gia was talking to her confessional, she said she'd been with this guy for 5 years and someone already asked her about marriage. So she's on the Teresa Giudice route to me. Hell, they might even make her a housewife next season. We cut to her confessional and she's just saying that she wanted Gia to live on her own because Teresa never got that privilege. So then Teresa brings up Jennifer going to Melissa's housewarming, and it definitely bothers Teresa a bit. She mentions the housewarming gift that she got for her brother and how John Fugazi. Can someone please explain that to me? Because I thought his last name was Fuda. Why are we calling him Fugazi? She has the nerve to call him fake, but she's giving her brother, who she's not speaking to, a housewarming gift for everybody to see. Okay. Again, it's the usual calculation on her part. So we're back at Melissa's house and they're in the backyard. We see Melissa and Dolores and Paulie coming down. Dolores has the bottle and she's showing it to Joe. He's thinking it's a gift from them, but then his whole face changes when he finds out it's from Teresa. Dolores is like, oh, it was just a nice gesture, Joe. I had to do it. And then I know this was what your father used to drink. And I'm sure once she said that, his dad, here come the theatrics out of Joe. Joe starts off his soliloquy saying, do you think she respects our father with what she's done? Melissa then takes the bottle, says she'll put it with the rest of the 17,000 bottles they have, and she leaves him the card. But Joe keeps going and says how he wanted the best for Teresa and how Louis backstabbed him. We cut to Jen Fessler's confessional and she's saying she feels like a housewarming gift doesn't have any nasty intentions. Well, when Teresa and Louis gives it, it does. It feels very calculated, almost like a mind fuck to Joe and Melissa, and trying to make it seem like they're extending an olive branch, but they're really not. An olive branch would have been a phone call or giving that gift in private with no cameras around. But Joe is continuing. He says, give me the card. He then throws the card in the fire. After that, I was like, I can't take this seriously. Was this orchestrated? The first time I saw this, I said, and the Oscar goes to. It came off as grandstanding just a little bit. Like he could have opened the card in private, and I'm pretty curious of what the card said. Yeah, am I the only one who bust out laughing when he did that? And not the camera zooming in on the card burning. Cinema. So now we see Jennifer Aiden arrive. She speaks to everybody. It's not too awkward, but she is being bitchy before she gets to the door and in her confessional. We then see Jackie arrive along with her fine husband, Evan. As she greets Melissa, Melissa clearly hasn't forgotten how Jackie came at her at the brunch, but she said there still isn't an excuse not to invite her to her housewarming. She also says if she didn't, she'd never hear the end of it because she keep bringing up how she wasn't invited to Danielle's event. Production then gives us a montage of Jackie complaining not being invited to something. From last year to last month, then soon after that. Production clearly has a sense of humor. Oh gosh, as Jackie's going outside to greet the other ladies, it looks like she tripped on something and fell backwards. I mean, kudos to her for not dropping her drink. I wish the cameras caught it though. Judging from the ladies' reactions, it looked like a nasty fall. So later on, we see Melissa ask Rachel in front of the other ladies, did you tell them about your meetup with Teresa? Now before y'all say Melissa keep bringing up Teresa, it's definitely vice versa. Because in the last Teresa scene, she brought up her brother. Anywho, as Rachel's talking about it, I mean, of course you have Dolores sticking up for Teresa as well as Jennifer. Jennifer says, well, if you just accepted the apology, maybe y'all would have been able to move on. And the problem with that is it wasn't an apology, there was no ownership, and no accountability. And that's pretty much the norm for Teresa. I wouldn't have accepted that either. And then Jackie, of all people, interjects and says, well, Melissa and Margaret are your best friends. You had them in your ear. Do you think it was going to end friendly at all? Jackie, no one asked for your biased, calculated opinion. Sip your drink and have a seat. Rachel says if that were true, she wouldn't have went in the first place. I do think if Teresa said, like, I'm really sorry for bringing that up, I said it to hurt you, maybe they could have moved on. But it's always Rachel's fault. It's always somebody else's fault when it involves Teresa. Jackie's basically implying that they had no intention of reconciliation with Teresa and Louis. Why are the men talking about this? Fast forward, I don't care what they think. So a little later, Dolores goes up to Margaret and asks her, are you going to talk to Jackie? because she's saying that you and Melissa were in Rachel's ear and there was never going to be peace between them and Teresa. Ooh, and you can see the steam coming out of Margaret's ears. Like, I really think she thought Jackie was like an ally to her, a friend, and she feels betrayed. And I'm not saying Margaret's hands aren't clean, but she definitely wants to get back at Jackie. After she hears this, Margaret immediately goes up to Jackie. We see Dolores' face, and she knows she started some shit. Marge don't even want to talk to Jackie in private. She goes right up to her and asks her about what she said. Jackie cops to what she says, and then Melissa tells her, well, you know we're good friends, and I don't care that you're friends with Teresa. And she says, well, at the brunch, you tried to start something. Melissa says, I wasn't trying to start something. I was just trying to remind you that, don't forget what happened. Because apparently her beef with Teresa caused her to relapse. And she said that on her podcast and in her book. Jackie's response is, well, the book isn't out yet. And Melissa's like, well, you told me and it happened. And people are eventually going to know this information anyway. Jackie's just so fake. Like, what is going on? And then I'm sure y'all saw on Watch What Happens Live how she looked stupid when Andy told her, well, you might want to hear some things Teresa said. I can't wait. Like, I used to root for Jackie. I don't know who this person is. Jackie really turned her back on Melissa and Marge for somebody who don't give a shit about her. So Melissa and Jackie going back and forth. Melissa's had enough. She's like, look, I'm not mad at you, okay? Good luck with that. So she leaves, and now it's just her and Marge. And now they're talking about that damn book again. Is the book even that good? Has anybody in the comments read the book? They're going back and forth on that, and then Jackie says, you know what, you're just mad that I'm friends with Teresa now. And then she tries to dead the conversation. She walks away from Marge. I mean, yeah, she's correct. She's mad, but it's more so like a betrayal. Like, you're going to Teresa and talking about Marge and Melissa, people that had your back when you were beefing with Teresa, who you think is a dummy. Like, is Teresa's friendship really worth you looking like a fool on television right now? So as Jackie storms off, we see Marge talking to Fessler and Dolores, and Marge is trying to throw Jackie under the bus with Dolores. She tells her Jackie was mad at you because you didn't tag her and Evan in the charity baseball game on your Instagram. Now, Margaret knew what she was doing in this moment. I gotta hold her accountable. She wanted to get back at Jackie. And if it's any indication on how she went at it with Jennifer Aiden, if you come from Margaret, you better have your arsenal too. And speaking of that, Jackie tries to be messy and goes up to Margaret's husband and starts hugging on him. And she's clearly drunk. Marge sees this. She's like, get off of my husband. Like, she goes make a beeline to her. She gets in between the two of them. She tells her husband, look, don't acknowledge her. She says, I'm not a good friend. Don't acknowledge her. So then we get a little break from that, and then we see Danielle approaching Jennifer about, like, is there something going on between them? So Jennifer brings up Danielle's charity event again. She says she really don't like how she treated Lena, and she's talking about you ain't got to push people aside if you're trying to look for success. Danielle looked like she's trying not to punch Jennifer in the face, because she's saying, well, that warrants you to talk shit about me? Like, to somebody who already talking shit? Jennifer said she didn't like how it played out to her, and if she agreed with what she did, then she would have stuck up for her. So then we cut to Danielle's confessional, and then this is where we hear why Jennifer really had a problem with it, because she didn't invite her friend Laura, who was Margaret's ex-best friend. I guess I got ahead of myself, because I was like, I heard this from something. But Danielle's claiming it was a security issue and she needed everybody out of the VIP who weren't guests. Jennifer then has the nerve to throw in Danielle's face that they did so much for her by just appearing at the event that you could be a little bit more considerate. Oh man, you can see Danielle is holding back right now. I see why they got into an altercation. It's going to be next week that happens. Jennifer is now throwing digs at Danielle's charity event that she worked her ass off for. And Danielle's like, we raised $25,000 for that charity. I'm not sure why Jennifer expected anything back for participating in a charity event. So surprisingly in this moment, Danielle is the bigger person and says, you know what? I did my best for this charity event. And if I screwed up, I'm sorry. She apologizes to Jennifer and says, but next time, if you have an issue with me, just come to me. And that's all Jennifer had to do. Instead, she was being underhanded, trying to embarrass Danielle by bringing this woman on, talking shit about her when she wasn't even there. So it looks like the two ladies are good for now. And then we see Jennifer go over to Joe. They finally speak. Everything's good between them. We then see Jackie go up to Dolores and start complaining to her about Margaret. But then Dolores, with this new information she got, she tells Jackie that Margaret told her that you had a problem with me not tagging you on my charity baseball game on my Instagram. And she said, well, it was an honest mistake. Jackie cops to being mad about it, but Dolores tells her, next time you have a problem with it, just call me. But then Jackie says, I didn't shit talk you at all. And I think Marge, we can see her in the background ear hustling. And Margaret's ear, she got the best ear in the Housewives franchise. So then we see her get her phone out and she's sending a text to Dolores, a screenshot of Jackie talking shit about her. And y'all, oh my God, this scene was so good, it was fattening. Now, I'm not saying what Margaret did was right, because, I mean, it was uncalled for. But when you do something like that, that means you're blowing the friendship up. Because that's a private conversation you're sending to somebody. Child, so then she tells Joe to motion to Dolores to check her phone. He's like this. As Jackie's back is turned to them, Dolores catches it immediately, gets her phone out, puts her glasses on, and checks it while Jackie's talking to her. Oh, I just got a text message about my dog. I'm checking it right now. Production shows us the screenshot, and you know I'm gonna read it. Ooh, the look on Dolores' face is priceless. So the text message is Jackie talking to Margaret. Jackie is saying intentional. She tagged every cast member and spouse except me and Evan. Margaret then says, no, I don't think so. You said you're going, right? Then Jackie says, yes, I definitely think intentional. She's a fucking slob and I hate her. And then Margaret responds, when did she post this? We don't get the rest of it. But damn, Jackie, a fucking slob? Like, I don't know, when you call a woman a slob, like, what do y'all think? Because her explanation in her confessional, it wasn't good. When I hear the word slob, I think oafish, dirty, and unkempt. And the word is synonymous with disgusting. Dolores cuts Jackie off mid-sentence. I'm a slob? I'm a slob? Yes, this is Beyonce on my phone. Now y'all know anytime we get Patterson Dolores, I get giddy. And I really think the term Jackie used, a fucking slob, and I hate her, I'm sure she was exaggerating it because, you know, this is a private text message, but still, like, reading that and you're the person, you know, she's talking about, oh, I feel some type of way. Jackie's face is cracked. She can't say nothing. And she's drunk. Like, I'm embarrassed for her in this moment. Ooh, Margaret got her ass. And Dolores packed her up, gift wrapped her ass, and shipped her off the UPS. Like, Jackie in this moment, I would have just left the party. And the looks on the other ladies' faces, Rachel's face, and then Jennifer's face, you do not fuck with Dolores. She is the wrong one. That's why she's allowed to be Switzerland. Jackie is completely deflated. She apologizes to Dolores. Dolores is like, you should apologize for that. That's disgusting. Dolores is mad. She tells her, I don't talk about you like that, just so you know. Jackie's last resort is to try to throw Margaret under the bus and says she says horrendous things about you and Paul. It's just not in writing. And then Dolores is like, well, yeah, she's smart. And then has Jackie agreeing that Margaret is smart in that moment. Oh. This is just a classic Housewives moment. You mess with Margaret, you better go toe to toe. You better be ready. And Jackie wasn't ready. Dolores then tells her she's a lot smarter than you, I guess. We got to Dolores' confessional. She is going off. Getting called a slob from the girl who's a hot fucking mess all the time. She also says Margaret should keep her mouth shut about her and Paulie. And I'm sure she's gonna address her later in another episode. The credits are rolling now, and Dolores tells Jackie, this isn't the first time I heard you talk about me. And then as Jackie's trying to explain, Dolores is like, give me a fucking couple minutes. Because what you said was disgusting. And Dolores walks off. They got her so good. I'm sorry, I just don't like Jackie right now, so she totally deserved that. I'm sorry. So we then cut to Margaret talking to Melissa, just saying how hurt she was by Jackie. She's a fucking asshole. It seemed like she's making excuses or sending a screenshot of a private text. But when you do that, Margaret, you basically blew up a friendship, because that is definitely a breach of trust, and you basically declaring war on the girl. And yeah, that's where the episode ends. I didn't mind this episode. And then next week, we're going to see the fight. We see that in the previews. I'm still seated for Jersey. And from the ratings, it seemed like the audience still is too, because we want to know what happened at the finale now. Even though the franchise is in trouble, I still think the finale is going to get 1 million views. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all thought about this betrayal and what Margaret did and whose side you're on. Can't wait to hear it. With that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.